legacy for the future. How might the Olympic Games filter down to sport in Oxfordshire? Sue Wright from Bicester is a Commonwealth gold medalist squash player and an ambassador for sports makers, and she joins us now. Hello, Sue.
Good afternoon, Joe.
Now, tell us a little bit about sports makers. This is an interesting concept.
Yeah, the sports makers, it's basically aimed at young adults and trying to encourage them to really to get back into sport or into sport for the first time, but actually be involved with the whole kind of organisation of getting into sport and healthy activity again. But it's really based around an informal status more so than, you know, really formal, like going to organised clubs and things like that. It's much more about getting people to do something very informal, like go on a bike ride with their mates or go for a jog with some friends or with colleagues.
Because the reality of it is only a teeny weeny tiny point-something percentage of any sportsmen or women around the globe, let alone in the county, will ever make it to elite sports, the Olympic standard. But that doesn't mean we're excluded, does it?
No, it definitely doesn't, and I think that's what this legacy is all about. You know, you don't have to be an Olympic hopeful to be part of the Sports Makers programme. It really is about being enthused by what's happening at London 2012 this year and wanting to just get involved in sport in some way, you know, use it as a way of, you know, making more friends, being healthy, being sociable, and really just doing something that really pulls everybody together. And so, as you say, you might not be an Olympian, but you can certainly be part of the Olympic legacy.
And although you know, have hung up your racket in terms of representing GB at that level now, you're very much involved with bringing the younger generation through, aren't you, with an academy in Bicester?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a squash academy in Bicester, and yes, I do. I bring lots of young, up-and-coming juniors through the squash world, I guess, and trying to get them involved in the game of squash, and not necessarily becoming an elite at it, but being part of a sport that's really fun, really sociable, and if they choose to go on and, you know, are able to be good enough, then that's a real bonus.
Have you seen much of a change in people's opinions, in people's outlook to sport already?
Yes, I think so. I mean, obviously, you know, as you were saying to Sarah, when the clock, you know, struck 12 on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, you know, everyone is now talking about the Olympics, and I think it is on everyone's lips, and I think everyone, whether it be volunteers or, you know, somebody wants to become a sport maker and, you know, be involved in organising informal sport, everyone can be involved in some way, and everyone is talking about it.
So how do you do that? How do you make that first step of our sport makers?
Well, you can go on to the Sport Makers website. You can go to www.sportmakers.co.uk, and that will give you all the information you need to become a sport maker. You can attend conventions or workshops that are happening all around Oxfordshire and nationwide, because obviously Sport Makers is a nationwide programme. And you can go along to one of those conventions or workshops, and they are there designed to give you some help, give you some information on how you can start to organise and be involved in some informal groups of sport and activity, and really get out there and really do something involved in sport, and, as I say, be part of the Olympic legacy.
Good stuff. Sue, lovely talking to you and catching up with you. Thanks very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks a lot, Joe.